Yes. Welcome and come well to another episode entitled "Am I as I am? Most importantly, as you are." Today I'm just going to be touching upon what is truth and what is honesty. What is truth and what is honesty, and how both of these dynamics or devices um, primarily reside within one person, one being, which is you. Um, it's kind of the same coin, but two sides of the same coin. Okay, two sides of the same kind. Um, that kind is you and your mind. Um, First, we're going to go into the dictionary definition of what truth is and the dictionary definition of what honesty is. It's not going to be a really long video. I'm just going to touch upon a few points with you to get a few points across. Um, some of you have come for the consultation that I have every weekend. So if you ever want to expound upon something, or for me to emphasize on, or for me to open up, or to engage in conversation, um, I hold weekend consultations with people, with couples, and we can build on anything that may not be pristinely clear to you during these videos that I upload and post. Any topic we can build on for more clarity if one seeks that, feels they need that to further their progress and their spiritual path and their spiritual development. Okay? The dictionary definition of truth is a specific visibility for one that questions everything they were taught to believe. The other definition is the quality or state of being which is true, or the quality or state of being true. Right? The third definition is a transcendent fundamental or spiritual reality. This is what truth means, definition, dictionary definition. The fourth is assertion, to assert. Um, or in another way of looking at it, to insert. Because before you assert, you have to insert. Because you have to be producing a certain product. A product has to be produced before it becomes a product on display. So you have to produce something within you, which is also dealing with the biological framework to induce. And when you induce, it's sort of a way of insertion or to insert because you are actually activating something within you. And when you insert and you activate, the only thing left now is to assert. So you have insert, assert. Now, this is the definition of what truth is, according to the dictionary definition. Okay? Now, honesty. Dictionary definition of honesty is as follows: respect towards others. Next definition is integrity and self awareness. The next definition is telling the truth, which is telling your truth after you created or interfaced with your truth. And the last is to be trusted. Now we're going at the definitions of truth and honesty. So, truth, once again, is a specific visibility for one that questions everything they were taught to believe. The quality or state of being true, a transcendent, fundamental, or spiritual reality. And assertion. Assert. It's different from insert. Assert means outward, insert means inward. Okay? Honesty. Definitions of honesty. Dictionary definitions of honesty. respect towards others, integrity and self-awareness, telling the truth, to be trusted, which basically means, to be trusted means that you are displaying authenticity and showing your quality of whatever you are the quality of in order to see what you qualify for. Now, people who know this channel know I'm touching upon the basis and the aspect and understanding of, or the interplay and interfacing of one with their creation, meaning in a relationship. So relationship based is what my videos are based on. Whenever I touch upon a certain topic, I'm touching upon certain things relating to a relationship, an intimate relationship that one may have with their mate, i.e., their creation. Okay? So that is what truth means and what honesty means. So when I looked at or understand from the basis of what I think and what I know that truth is and what honesty is, and even the way that it's defined in the dictionary, truth is something which is inside. Honesty is something which is outside. So truth is internal, honesty is external, right? I'm gonna go down this quick rundown with you of what so far along my path and my understanding of what I'm understanding about what truth and honesty is from an intimate relationship perspective. Okay? I'm sharing it with y'all. This is a quick rundown. Okay, so now that we know that truth is internal and honesty is external, well, what do you mean by this? Well, let's go down the rundown. Truth is internal, honesty is external. Okay? Let's go further. Truth is self-reflection. Honesty is self-projection. What do you mean by that? Self-reflection. Now, dealing with when you're in a relationship, it basically means, and especially if that relationship is taken serious and it's propelling forward on its own accordance, on its own volition, and it's moving forward and it's progressing into a more mature state of development, that means that a contract needs to be taking place. And an oath needs to find its place within that time and space that two people in an intimate relationship share and are experiencing in that present moment. Now, truth and honesty is based upon a contract or an agreement or an oath that two take. So when you take that contract, or when you make a contract, or when you make that agreement, or when both of you guys, both of you man and woman, take that oath to move further in your experience and to develop it to a certain kind of stage or maturity, a contract is taking place, or an agreement is, or a contract is proposed, or an agreement is taking place, or an oath presents itself. Now, one of you are going to come with that contract to the other, or this agreement that you both hold. And you're saying, listen, I'm this way and I'm that way. She's saying, I'm this way and I'm that way. Now, there's a thing about two people in a relationship. It's like equivalent to or sharing an experience in a relationship that is progressing and maturing towards its higher stages of development. Meaning, family, marriage, true unionship, uh, things of that nature that kind of bring that cohesive uh, essence to the forefront between two people, between two beings, between the creator and the creation and the creator and its creation. Because like I said, both of you guys are creators and creations of each other. She created you, you created him. So you have this androgynous intelligence, which is between both of you, which you both have to be catering to more than your personal issues. So now this androgynous intelligence or this androgynous entity appears, and now an agreement has to be taken place. Now, once you make that agreement, once you draw that contract and sign that agreement and create that oath, this is where truth and honesty take place between time and space. But truth is internal, honesty is external. You have to first be true to yourself before you be honest with another. See? Now, the rundown is based upon what I'm pertaining to right now in this moment. Truth is internal, honesty is external, right? Got that straightened out, that clear to a certain degree. Some kind of clarity is on that. Truth is self-reflection, honesty is self-projection, meaning that truth that you came to within yourself to uphold and manage a contract, an agreement, and an oath that you took with another. From that self-reflection that reflection is now projecting. So that reflecting is now projecting, which is why self-reflection in truth converts into honesty, which becomes self-projection. So that projection is nothing but a byproduct of the product of reflection. So it's basically being real truthful with your truth that was created from that experience, from that agreement, from that contract, from that oath that was taken between you and your other, or you and your mate, or you and your creation, or you and your wife, or you and your husband, or you and your significant other. There was something that was there that needed you to give it that attention to now interface with each other and come to a certain kind of agreement. When this agreement is taking place, that's when truth and honesty takes place. Okay? Truth is alignment. Honesty is flexibility. What does that mean? Truth is alignment, meaning you are aligning yourself with your truth, which has taken place between time and space, that sustains and maintains the experience in a respectful manner, in a respectful accordance to the other of another, while you are with each other. Don't agree to something that you are not willing to uphold. If you want to explore and discover other avenues of sexuality or life or with other people, be true to yourself first, and then the honesty just pours out naturally. Because you are so true to yourself, you are so aligned with yourself that nothing can break that. And that which orbits you is in actual synchronicity and alignment and accordance with your agenda. So truth is alignment, honesty is flexibility. Now that you are honest from your truth, you can now interface with the other if they're still there and present. They came to an understanding of your nature in that moment that they met you, that they connected with you, or that you connected with them, or that y'all found a connection. You are honest with them because you were true with yourself. Truth, honesty. Truth, honesty. Truth, honesty. Internal, external. See, so one thing is inside, the other thing is outside. Okay, I'm gonna go down the rundown because I'm kind of going ahead of myself, but I'm just gonna give a quick rundown. Get back to the rundown. Truth is foundation. Honesty is structure. What do you mean by that? Well, you can't have a structure without a foundation, right? We understand that. I can't stand unless the ground is underneath me. It's obvious. It's common sense. So your truth is your foundation, which is your Groundation. It's your ground. So you have to stand on something. Stand for something or fall for anything. You know that saying. So you're looking for a foundation, which means you found yourself, or the self found itself. That's what foundation means. It means that you were found and that you found something which keeps you grounded within yourself. You've come to accept certain aspects of yourself. You live by that code and you speak it. Whoever is listening, the one who is listening and on the receiving end, receiving what you are speaking and are living and are being, if they remain according to how you want to be within yourself in that present moment, because we all go through transformations and conversions throughout life according to how we perceive and what we experience throughout our life. Things that change us, mold us, transform us, convert us. But how you are in that moment, and you found the foundation, and you found what needed to be found, and what needed to be found you. You become the foundation, which is the truth. You are true to yourself. You are true to your truth, however that truth may be. Then what you speak, and they stay and they remain and respect and understand where you're coming from, you have now created a structure. So this is your foundation, which is truth. You speak it, they remain, they stay there in that orbit. That is the structure from the foundation. So this is the foundation. This and this creates the structure which remains and sustains itself. With the maintenance of truth and honesty. Truth and honesty. The next thing is truth is analysis or self-analysis. Honesty is observation. What this means is truth is analysis. You're self-analyzing. You're analyzing yourself. You're saying, am I really this way? Am I not that way? Am I fronting or am I being real with myself? Because if I'm not being real with myself, sooner or later, they're going to see me for my realness that I claim to be, which I really never was to begin with. It's going to be shown. All secrets secrete. And I know this from experience. So you're having a self-analysis. You're analyzing yourself. You're analyzing your ways. You're analyzing your sexuality. You're analyzing your mental state. You're analyzing your present experience that you're having. What you're learning. What you're coming across. What makes sense to you. What doesn't make sense to you. What aligns with you. What doesn't align with you. What you find relative and what you find irrelevant, what you don't find relevant, and what you don't find relative. And you start to go through these elimination processes within yourself. You do a self-analysis. So this is how another way or just another tool to tweak the 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 fine-tuning on your truth. So you do a self-analysis. Truth is self-analysis. If you haven't analyzed yourself yet, then you are not walking in truth. You're walking, but you're not walking in truth. What truth? Your truth. Because your truth is the only truth in existence in your experience. All right? And honesty is observation. You are now observing the result of your self-analysis. You're observing how she's acting around you, how he's acting around you. What's going on? How is he? How is she? How are they interacting with you in all ways? So now you get to see basically a reflection of what you were true within yourself about, with the person as basically a mirror reflecting back onto yourself that you get to see the interplay and interfacing between you and the other. That shows basically the result and quality of the truth that you came to, you see, within yourself. And if that flows with you and it's cool and it's in accordance and not interrupting or distracting or interfering with your nature, then your truth came out correct. And observation is just, once again, the external. You're observing your truth in motion. Okay? Truth is mental dialogue. Honesty is verbal dialogue. Truth is mental dialogue. Honesty is verbal dialogue. Once again, going back. Do not speak, do not utter a word until you have neutralized that verbal dialogue in your head of you judging yourself, not judging yourself, moralizing certain things that you're doing, not moralizing things, finding out your standard, you see, or your standards, which basically shows you your quality of who the hell you are and what you're made of and what you are about in that moment, in that specific experience. Because you're going to have things in your head like, damn, why did I do that? That's not the agreement I held with her. That's not the contract that I signed with her or with him. Yeah, I know this is a free life and chaos is the law of the universe. But once I verbally sign a contract through speech or verbally create an agreement through the meeting of minds and heart with another individual, I now take on that divine responsibility to uphold that contract and that agreement. That's why you put your signature, your signature, in cursive, which is what is known as script. You're connecting the letter to the other letter without the pen leaving the page. It's a connection. You're creating a signature. You're putting your signature in cursive form, which is also known as script or calligraphy. You're putting it together on something which is letters that are together, connected on a together agreement or a together contract. And trust me, you do and will take responsibility for it. This is divine law. This is why even in courtrooms, when they call it a verbal agreement, just by you responding back is known as a verbal agreement, whether you know it or not. Because you're basically validating their existence and their presence by responding. So it's called a verbal agreement. It's the same thing with your mate. The same thing with your creation. The same exact thing. It's held under divine kingship, under divine queenship. You cannot break that. And when you break, things begin to shake. And when things shake, it eventually and inevitably will fall. Okay? So, mental dialogue, verbal dialogue. Make sure you have your mental dialogue in order where you're not judging yourself to a full degree or so extreme where you just can't, I shouldn't be, I should have thought that, I should do that from a mutual and neutral state of mind before you utter anything to your creation, to your mate, to your husband, to your wife, to your significant other. Okay? Truth is like inhaling. Inhale. Honesty is exhaling. Truth, inhaling. Honesty, exhaling. Once again, something finds inner, or that which is inner finds its way out. It's going to come out. Your truth will reveal itself whether you do it intentionally or not. Truth is truth of whoever the hell you are. It's going to show, and they're going to see. See? So, once again, truth is internal, which is inhaling, or just an example of inhaling. Honesty is exhaling, means that it's external. It's something which comes out from that which was taken in. But in the mind and the heart, when you're dealing with certain things based upon agreement and contracts that you held with somebody, and an oath and a, under universal law, trying to create this androgynous entity with another in the spiritual paradigm, but playing in the physical realm, with validating something in the spiritual paradigm. That spiritual realm is an intelligence unto itself. Whether you deny, say it or not, it knows when something is not exactly correct. And it will be exposed to bring itself back to balance. And it just so happens to be fights, arguments, disagreements, breakups, conflict, friction, whatever. These are just expressions of to bring itself back to balance. And you just happen to be the one to go through it because you are the physical vessel, which it expresses itself through what it expresses itself as. So you get the back end of it. But it's going to align itself back with itself. It's inevitable. Okay, so don't fool yourself. Truth is the nucleus. Honesty is the cell membrane. Once again, truth is the nucleus. Honesty is the cell membrane. The cell membrane is the thing that surrounds the nucleus. You have the cell, then you have the membrane, then you have the cytoplasm, and then you have the nucleus and the chromosome. Okay. So what is your nucleus like? Because whatever your nucleus is the membrane and the cell head that you are creating. So if your protons and your neutrons and your electrons ain't balanced within the nucleus of your being, that one which is visioning you, which can see you, which can view you, will see the cell membrane which is accumulating and creating and developing. And they will be able to detect sooner or later that something is not going according to the agreement and contract and the oath which you agreed to sign with the other. If it's one contract and one agreement and one oath, when one party is not being of that oath, agreement, and contract, which is divine, which is spiritual, spirit will inform them. Whether you know it or not, they're going to be informed and they're going to know. They're going to find out. And like I said, once again, I know this from personal experience. Even if you're honest, it doesn't mean that that information that the spirit is still delivering to them ceases. It doesn't mean that it stops now that you're being honest. Something is still lingering. Just like you break glass, you drop glass on the floor, and you may sweep up that one section, you may mop that one section, you may shine and polish that one section, and you may get every glass off that one section, but it does not mean that tiny small particles did not slide under the stove, or did not slide under the couch, or did not go and find itself in crevices and corners of your living room or your bedroom or your bathroom that you will never be able to get to. So these remnants or these lingerings will still be present. See? And yes, you were true within yourself and you were honest with your word. But it does not mean that things are not still lingering. It doesn't mean that there is no residue left behind. See? And the one that's on the receiving of your true to self and honest to word with it doesn't mean that they're not still receiving feedback, spiritual feedback from something that you have now came to be true and honest with. But also, whatever they receive is also up to them to commit that action to go further. Because they don't necessarily have to go further, but they can if they want to. But if they do, they're going to basically bump into that which was already cleared, it was already clarified. You may not have gone into true detail, but you told them the overall basis. Okay. Next thing is truth is to embed. Honesty is to imprint. So embedding is something that you do with yourself. You embed whatever you embed yourself with. Embedding you're creating a certain kind of uh, aspect of yourself by being true to yourself. And then you imprint. You leave an imprint or an impression on someone with your truth that you are living. Now, this doesn't necessarily have to zoom in and magnify in on on just solely relationships. This is also one on their spiritual path or their spiritual calling. Like I have a spiritual path. I have a spiritual calling which I remain true to, the truest to. Um, and the imprint I leave on people or the impression I may have on one will leave an impact. So an imprint may lead to an impact. And an impact, people clear the area and they clear the field, which is why I'll share some of my insights with certain people and they like, yo, I'm not there, family. Like I don't really, wherever you at, that's what's up. I'm saying keep doing what you're doing, but damn, son, I can't really get with that. And 9 out of 10 people disappear. They vanish into the thin air when I share what I share with them because I'm being true to my truest nature, to my core. And I'm being honest with my word when I speak it to somebody. And also the way I animate myself, 9 out of 10 disappear. And I'm used to that now. So it's not a big deal. I get it. I understand the nature of spirits in my understanding. So going back, you embed something within you and then you leave an imprint with your word and your action as a projection of the self-reflection of you interfacing with your truest nature and your truest purpose. Okay? Your calling, in other words, understand. Truth is 1D, one dimensional. Honesty is 3D, third dimensional. Truth, once again, is the mind. The mind is one dimensional. You're going through a one dimensional dialogue of voices, slides, scenes, images, views in your mind of yourself and your ways of being. You have the mind that judges, morals, standards. You know, you have these things based upon the left and right brain hemisphere. So they're gonna battle each other, and you're gonna just hear the shit out. You're gonna hear this whole battle between the left and right brain hemisphere. But your point and your agenda, your task is to not pay attention too much to them. They're gonna battle. That's their main thing. Like this mask, there's two faces on there, a man and a woman, and it's inside the head and the face, of one head, of one entity. See? So they're gonna battle. That's the dialogue. This is the mental dialogue. See, the man, the woman, inside of one face, inside of one head. This is what it is. This is what you go through. This is the mental dialogue that you go through. Okay? In that process, the embedding occurs. you embed yourself with something, and then you leave an imprint or an impression, which may cause an impact. So what? You're being true to yourself. So who gives a damn? Can't really care. Yeah. It's all about knowing. Truth is to know. Honesty is to learn. Truth is to know. For you to get to know yourself, or know the self, or know the self a little more better. You're trying to know, or you're attempting to know the unknown, or that which doesn't want to know of itself. I mean, that which is the challenge to know itself. You're challenging to know the unknown, or you're challenging that which looks like it's impossible to know, which is actually just yourself, which once again is internal. You're internalizing. Honesty is to learn. Once you internalize and you know something about yourself, you project that. From that reflection turns a projection, and you project and you animate and you articulate. You animate, dealing with action, and you articulate with your words. And in that interaction and interfacing with your mate, or with people that you are discussing or sharing your path with, you learn the communication. You learn if there's a connection or not. See, you're there to learn when you become honest. Truth is internal. You are seeking to know an aspect of yourself which is kind of hiding from yourself. And it's hiding from yourself behind identities and personalities and programs which you have created to protect itself. So you have to break in these illusional protections of itself to seek a deeper knowing of yourself. Because every identity, every personality, every program that you have created so far in this lifeline, in this lifetime, in this lifetime, every personality, identity, and program creates a sheltering, protective shield around itself. And it'll do anything to protect itself. It'll do anything to be right. And these are the battles that you face within yourself. These are the many faces that you face within yourself before you come face to face with your truest self. And when you get there, or get to the core of what there is, then you begin to know yourself, or a deeper aspect, or a more innate aspect of yourself, or a more insidious location within yourself. Okay, so truth is to know, honesty is to learn. Truth is to know, honesty is to learn. Okay, honesty is to learn. Truth is to know. Walk in your talk, talk in your walk. Okay. Truth is self-realization. Honesty is self-actualization. So basically, after realization comes actualization. You have realized something about yourself. That is the truth that you are. That is your truth. That is your calling. Now you are actualizing it. You're making it an actual, factual thing from the realization which you have received about yourself, about your truth, about your personal calling. You received a certain truth. You embrace it. You infuse with it. And then you actualize it. So the act brings about the fact from the realizing factor. Truth, self-realization. Oh shit, I just realized something about myself. Damn, that's real. I gotta be to that. I gotta be pristine. I gotta be clear with that. I made that contract. Well, we presented that contract. We both signed that agreement. This is the oath that's taken. But what am I? Oh, that's what I am. You realize something about yourself. Self-realization, which also derives in self-analysis under the same thing as truth. Analyze and then you realize. And then you actualize what you've analyzed and realized internally. You get to actualize it and factualize it. So that act turns into a fact. Okay? Truth is to create the animation. Honesty is to animate the creation. One more time. Truth is to create the animation because you're creating a animating aspect of yourself. It's going to animate. It's going to express. It's going to find an outward from an inducing inward. You're inducing something, you're bringing about something, and it's an inward thing, it's an insidious thing, it's an innate intelligence, and it's going to find expression. It's going to animate the creation that you created to animate eventually. Okay? So truth is to create the animation. You're creating an animation of yourself. Animation is the cartoon. The cartoon is also that you're dealing with something which is of a spiritual nature, which isn't bound to third dimensionality. You're not bound to the third dimensional laws that govern the physical reality or govern third density. So you're transcending beyond that which is impossible for the flesh or the corporeal or the carnal dimension to supersede. You're transcending it through the mind and through the heart and through spirit. So you create the animation. That's what your truth is. You're creating and animating. You're animating. You're creating a certain kind of animating apparatus to the outside or the external environment. And the honesty is to animate the creation, which is basically the animation of what you created. Okay? Truth is the training. You are going through a training. Honesty is the result. Truth is training. You're going through a training, a silent training within yourself, a still training within yourself. And honesty is the result of that training that you've been working on for so long within yourself. Between the training and the result is the challenge. So you have the training, and then you have the challenge, and then you have the results of the challenge that you've trained for internally. Okay? Last but not least, truth is silence. Honesty is sound. Truth is silence. Honesty is sound. On another way, truth is silence and stillness. Honesty is sound and animation. Okay? That's a quick rundown. Now dealing with when I said that, just to say this, when I said that truth is alignment, truth is alignment. Alignment within yourself. You're aligning, you're finding out the blueprint. You're finding out the blueprint to your calling, the architecture to your path. You're trying to find this out. And when you find it out, you find that truth, that core, you become aligned. And when you align, you are of your spine. You stand upright. You think upright. You live upright. Your being is uprightedness. If that's even a word, I'll make up my own shit. But truth alignment. Alignment is making sure that your actions match your agreements. Making sure your actions match the agreements, match the contract. Making sure your contract Making sure that what you make contact with matches your contract. So making sure your contact matches your contract. Making sure that your actions match your agreements. This is what alignment is under the category or under truth. But we're dealing with truth, which is internal once again. Making sure your prior self is following the new self. Making sure the transmission is transforming. Making sure past behavior is transforming into the present focus towards the new experience. Okay? Want to hear that again? Just wind it back, play it back, and see it for you to do so if desired or required. Now, this is what I want everyone to kima. And if you're familiar with this channel and familiar with my book, it means KIMAH. It's initials, which means in keep in mind and heart, or that which is kept in mind and kept in heart. So kima this underneath the title of truth and honesty. You have to inhale before you exhale. That's self-explanatory, which means you have to be internal before you become external. But what soup are you creating internally of yourself? Is it a soup which benefits you and suits you as you yourself and what you decided to agree to? And is it of well-being? Does it keep you you? You know, these things are how what you have to interface with within yourself. If you want to get more deeper on this, like I told you, you can get in contact with me through the email, my email underneath this video for one-on-one consultations, also a couple consultations, and we can go, we can open these a lot more because each line can go to like an hour or hours. Each line that I build upon can go for hours. Just to let you know. Of course, we want a certain time capsule to the videos on YouTube. Okay? And it's Zoom sessions every weekend. The next thing is thought seeks to become action, idea seeks to become invention, feelings seek to become touch. That which feels seeks to become touched. Every thought seeks to become an action. Every idea seeks to become an invention. What does that mean once again? Internal seeks external, but make sure your internal, that you are aligned with your internal before you direct it externally. That's the whole point of this. All right. So it's very relevant that you acknowledge the internal before you give attention to the external. Once again, it's very relevant for you to be true to your truth, whatever that truth is, before you are honest with another. Okay. Other thing is to kima, you step from where you stand. Now that's once again self-explanatory. If you step from where you stand, then what's most important is where are you standing? What are you standing on? Or how stable are you standing? Once again, this goes from the truth or your truth. What is your truth? Do you know your truth? The next thing is the heartbeat beats inward, then waves outward. These are just things to keep up, just things to keep in mind and heart as we're dealing with truth and honesty in a relationship, in an intimate relationship. Other thing is to be righteous. This is something to keep in mind. Because people say, we mean what truth and honest, to be true and honest, that means to be righteous. Like, does that mean that I'm living righteously? And is that righteousness? let's get a more deep understanding of what righteous really means, or what it's really pertaining to, before I even say yes or no. To be righteous is to be ripest. So when you say, am I being righteous? You have to ask yourself, am I being the ripest aspect of myself? Fruit of your loins, they call children or offspring. You got back in the day, people wear underwear is called fruit of the looms because they kept the fruits in a certain kind of place. Fruit of the looms, fruit of your loins. Fruit, fruition. Fruit is also fruition. Also connected to the understanding of intuition. To be righteous is to be ripest, i.e., the tree of life. To be divine is to divine, which means to take the fruit off of the vine. But you don't take it off how you do it. You don't do it and take it off the fruit. You wait for the fruit to drop off the vine. When the fruit drops off the vine, then the fruition becomes divine. And that's the whole understanding. So when people say, I'm divine, is this being divine? Well, did you divine? Because once you divine, once you become the sweetest aspect, once you become ripe, then you become right. Then the rites of passage, which means you have the right to drop because you are ripe. So to be right or righteous means to be ripe and the ripest, which means to be the sweetest aspect of yourself. So to be divine is to divine, which is why you have in certain kind of texts and scriptures and different things, what was to say, religious aspects as well as antiquitous aspects, understanding, deeper understandings, but it's the apple from the tree of knowledge. So you have these things that are pointing the word righteous to the understanding of ripeness or ripest, i.e., the tree of life, the symbol of the tree of life, which is right above me. That's Metatron. Not too sure, pardon me. I'm not going to look behind it. But that symbol above me. It's a symbol. The tree of life is a symbol. And the circles within circles, inside of circles, inside of circles, inside of circles, connecting to other circles, which also the vesicle pieces as well inside of it. That's all another conversation. Um, so to be ripe is to be right is to be ripe. To be righteous is to be the ripest. Are you the ripest aspect? Which means have you gone through that transformation within yourself, i.e., internalizing, internalization? Have you found your truth? To be righteous is to be ripest, i.e., tree of life, divine, to divine, apple from the tree of knowledge, etc. Right? They said don't eat the apple from the tree of knowledge. But was the apple already on the floor? Did it drop already? Was it already ripe or was it still on the tree? We don't go into that. Figure that out. So to be righteous is to be ripest, which means to fully develop or to be fully developed or developing, to go through full transformation or the full transformative process, to now drop or fall or release from that which is no longer you, to drop from that which is no longer your support, no longer your safe haven, i.e., your heaven, to reach the peak of sweetness, to transform into your melanosis, which means to go to the darkening stages of when the fruit becomes too ripe and you leave it there and it just gets more ripe and more ripe and more ripe and more sweet and more sweet and more sweet and more fruit flies and gnats and things start to fly around it, fly in it, come out of it. It becomes very sweet. It's transforming into its melanosis. It's reaching the stage of melanin. It's reaching the dark aspect to the surface of itself, going through chemical transformations. So it's so sweet, it's now drawing on life and creating life from it. You see, so when you're true and you are hitting the most sweetest aspect of yourself, your truth, you now create life around you and create life from you. Therefore, you become a self-life sustaining phenomenon in all ways, all directions, all understandings, all examples. To transform into your melanosis gracefully with the inevitable, which also means to become food source for the divine yearn. To become a food source for the divine yearn. That divine yearning is you yearning for the learning of yourself, for the earning of what you truly are. I have to earn what I truly am. So even to learn is also to unlearn. Just like you have to divine. So to go through full process in order to produce, you have to go through a full process, or even anything or something, whether it be food or whatever you want to call it, has to go through a process in order to become a produce. So you have to process an internalization, to process something within yourself internally in order to produce, or in order to produce the result that you want coming back in return. See? So you can only produce something once you go through a process. What process? What produce? Process is internal, produce is external as a result of the internal processing. Also, the kima, to be true and honest is not about righteousness, it's not about good, it's not about being good or being pure or being great or being magnificent or being positive. That's not what being righteous is. Righteousness has nothing to do with morality. It has nothing to do with good and bad, pure and evil, the greatest, the nicest. That's neither here nor there. It's about being or becoming your pure innocence. Where is your innocence? Because when you find your innocence, then you begin to forgive yourself, not other people. That's an impossibility to that degree. You forgive your own innocence for getting caught up or just going through your regular rearing and raising, being taught what to do and how to do what you weren't taught and what you didn't learn or never had the opportunity to learn. You begin to forgive your innocence. So to be true and honest is about or becoming, being and or becoming your pure innocence. It's about cutting through your own essence to the core and nucleus of your being or being. To become pristine, to become the crystal or crystallization of your truest, highest potential. Um, Also, not much. To kima also is to not be true and honest is equivalent to manipulate, lie, and deceive. Right? We manipulate, lie, and deceive because we're not being true and honest. And this is a rut. It just keeps going round and round. You find yourself in this round and round, this Eros kind of thing. So to not be true and honest is equivalent to manipulate, lie, and deceive, not only to another and towards another, but also towards yourself, to yourself. So you're not only manipulating, lying, and deceiving another, you're also manipulating, lying, and deceiving yourself. Because it is your ears which hears what your mouth is speaking. See? So it comes right back to you. Doesn't matter how slick you think you're being or how hidden you think you are. Or secrets secretes. Secrets and secrete is the same damn word. So there is no secret. To constantly be in a self-destructive routine is like wearing a mask and costume 24/7. Sooner or later, you're going to have to take that mask off to breathe, and you're going to have to take that costume off to wash. And any time between one of these moments of the demasking or taking off of the garment, the other, which you have an agreement and a contract with and hold an oath with under divine law and universal law, the other might glance over and see your true face and your true body underneath that mask and that costume. They may glance over at any moment that you take that mask off to breathe, when you take that costume off to wash. And they may see you for who and what you are covering up to be. Most of the time they do and they won't, because it just is. Like I told you, it will align itself with itself. And it will use you as a chess piece or a checker piece to get that done. Regardless, it's inevitable. Only but for so long. Because you can't keep them on forever all the time. Also to keep in mind, sometimes in order to meet or come in contact with your Christios or crystal body or innocence, aka your truth, in its original primordial form of formlessness, you may need to fast or zero. You don't only get rid of waste during your fasting or your zeroing out. You don't only get rid of waste and extra food that's stuck in your intestines, large intestine, small intestine, stomach, and different energy blockages from the body. You don't always only get rid of waste or things that the body needs or excess. You also get rid of old programs, old thought forms, old behaviors, old behaviorisms, old habits, people, family members, old mental dialogue, old thinking patterns, old support that was upholding old mental programs. Old environments and atmospheres begin to disappear. Social gatherings will vanish. Why? How is this so? The way you were living was the way you were eating. The way you were eating was the way you were living. The way you were thinking was the way you were feeling. Therefore, what you're feeling kept the same thoughts present and cycling. So everybody's connected to everything. Your food that you eat is connected to a person or people. The way you were living was connected to a certain kind of environment or gathering. And everything is vice versa. These things exist in these things and in your thoughts and feelings. You think differently, you start to live differently, you feel differently, certain people disappear, atmospheres literally vanish, environments literally disappear, they're gone. Because these were connected to the way you were eating, the way you were living, the way you were dressing, the way you were feeling, the way you were thinking. So therefore, what does that mean? That these people never actually truly existed in the physical realm. These atmospheres never truly existed in what you call third dimensional or third density. They were all part of a habit, a routine, and a cycling which you kept in rotation. So this is why, to become true and honest, sometimes you have to cleanse or go through a certain kind of cleansing or fasting or zeroing out, because you may not be able to get to the core of your innocence and your truth and your trueness until the distractions, interferences, and interruptions cease no longer to be. And they are connected to the way you eat, to the way you live, to the way you think. social gatherings, etc. So don't just fast to get certain food out of your system. Fast to get thoughts out of your system. Fast to get behaviors out of your system that are no longer beneficial to you, that no longer serve your present mission and purpose. Okay? So, what we know as thinking, living, eating, and feeling are nothing but interchangeable, transdimensional mind stations that instantaneously and simultaneously broadcast the present reality, which is desire. Once again, what we know as thinking, living, eating, and feeling are nothing but interchangeable, transdimensional mind stations that instantaneously and simultaneously broadcast the present reality, which is desire. So, what is interchangeable? What do I mean by interchangeable transdimensional? Interchangeable definition is capable of replacing or changing places with something else, permitting mutual substitution without loss of function or suitability. So, what we know as thinking, living, eating, and feeling are nothing but interchangeable transdimensional mind stations. Which means that, once again, like I said, what you eat is connected to a person. How you live is connected to an environment. But it'll trade places in order to sustain itself. So the person that you or people that you're around will connect to a certain way of eating. See? A certain environment that you may be in may have you dressing accordingly in a certain way. So they're interchangeable dimensions, transdimensional interchangeability. So interchangeability basically is the lock, which is the cycle and constants of something. Transdimensional means it's the key. This is the difference between interchangeability and transdimensionality. Interchangeability is just things that are willing to change and substitute and switch places to keep this rotation, this cycle going. But the transdimensional, you can become transcendent beyond that present dimension, which means that there's a potential always existing for you to come out of that cycle. This cycle is interchangeable, and it's interchanging and substituting and trading places and switching spots just to keep you there. But you are transdimensional, which means that you can transfer to another dimension which supersedes beyond that third dimensional cycle. So it's of a interchangeable transdimensional nature. And this is a mind station. Now, these things happen instantaneously and simultaneously. This is why I said that. And it broadcasts from the present reality, which is desire, which means whatever reality that you are keeping in place between time and space. So it is your duty, it is your responsibility to change that if you wish to, if it no longer serves you, if it's no longer beneficial to you and your purpose and your mission and your calling and your path. If it doesn't sustain a present you which you want to remain in that moment. Okay, so in other words, these four things, I just want to say this: thinking, living, eating, and feeling. It's like you have four elements: fire, air, earth, and water. The fifth element, people don't really understand or really know, is time. Without time, there will be no fire, air, earth, and water. But let's just deal with fire, air, earth, and water. These four things, like I said: fire, air, earth, and water, thinking, living, eating, and feeling. Water can cancel out fire. Fire can burn earth. Earth can put out fire. Water can soak into earth. You see, earth grows plants. Water can manipulate earth, or wind, pardon me, can manipulate earth, or air can manipulate earth, which means it moves the flowers, it moves the trees, it moves the branches. So you have these things that work with each other, that substitute each other, that can eliminate, cancel out, or join with each other, or infuse with each other, to keep us in this present third dimensional reality. But you are something that is transdimensional, which can transcend beyond this third dimensional state into a fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, so-called, and so on dimension. Because you can see. What do you mean by that, Blue? You're able to see, interact, and interface with fire, with the element of water, with the element of air, with the element of earth, which means that you are not there. You don't exist there because you can see where there is. You see? And you have fire, air, earth, and water, these elements inside your body, which keep you in this third dimensional reality, which we are presently in at this moment. See? So just keeping in mind, in other words, these four things are things that support and substitute the other or each other to uphold the agenda which was put in place by you to uphold in the first place. So metaphysically, the presence of peoples and atmospheres exists in your foods and feelings as well as your behaviors, demeanors, and attitudes. Okay, I just wanted to share that at the moment. And once again, am I as I am, most importantly as you are. I'll see you guys next time. Until then, I'll keep you in vision. 1, 0.